Okay, so we should be live, but okay, now we should be live. I don't know. Now it's the counter. Okay, so we should be live. Please thumbs up if audio sounds good. I saw the video coming up here. Audio sounds good. I'm gonna introduce myself. Each of them will introduce themselves. That way you can make sure everybody's sound looks good. You know, SZG Sport Ravens fan here, the one and only Kings of the North for the past 2 years. The rest, they want to, but they can't get there. They'll try this year. They'll fail again. But anyway, I'm going to get with Mr. Burrow's era starts Thursday.
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for, of course, having us on. Glad to always return and do this roundtable with you guys. I'm super excited for the draft Thursday. Ready for this mock. Let's get it.
Tony?
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is the Super Bowl of the offseason, right? This is why we watch all that tape, right? So I'm excited for this week. Even though the Steelers don't have a first round pick, I'm gonna be kind of quiet on today's show. And I won't be quiet. The Steelers will be quiet. I'm sure I'll make a show of it. And I guess I'm gonna be spending every single pick tonight explaining why I'm not taking a quarterback. But if I guess by the 7th round, hopefully everybody agrees.
Quincy.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Been really digging into my research for the draft within the last 2 weeks. I think I have some interesting things coming for this mock draft, so stay tuned.
So guys, we will love questions as we go. So please, obviously, making fun of Tony, it's just
I don't understand. It's not making fun. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a first-team All-Pro. First-team All-Pro.
But here's a question for Quincy. Quincy, can you see the question, by the way?
Yes, I can. Okay. You want me to read it?
Sure.
All right. This comes from Panos. I'm just going to mispronounce that. So, PG. This comes from my boy PG. Considering the fact that Isaiah Simmons can play both linebacker and safety, should the Browns draft him if he's available at 10 and go round 2 for an offensive tackle need? All right. So I have an interview that's going to drop in pieces tomorrow with a guy named Vach Lombardi. He's a very respected draft analyst on YouTube. And he was talking to me about Isaiah Simmons, and he says Isaiah Simmons would be an interesting piece for a team because he can be that Tampa 2 linebacker, the Mike in the Tampa 2 system, and he would be very useful in a system that's trying to go against Lamar Jackson. So I do see the attractiveness of an athletic freak like Isaiah Simmons in that kind of a role. But if it comes at the risk of missing out on one of those premium offensive linemen or Derek Brown, I don't think it's worth it because ultimately we saw last year that the offense will not get off the ground if you can't get the trenches right. And I don't think it's going to matter if you have an Isaiah Simmons or Odell Beckham on the edges of your offense and defense if you don't have your trenches right. And right now the Browns don't have their trenches right, and they need to get it right before everything else.
Anybody else wants to comment on that?
I mean, Simmons is a great prospect, obviously, but I think Quincy's right. Look, they have a glaring need on the offensive line in Cleveland that they have to patch that up because look, and we talked about this on previous shows, right? This is a make or break year in a lot of ways for Baker Mayfield. If they don't surround him with the kind of talent that they need offensively, and right now what they need is a better offensive line, then they're not going to know what they have at quarterback, and that's going to set this franchise back once again. So Simmons is a really interesting prospect, but I think Quincy's right. Offensive line is just too glaring a need.
Yeah, I think there's a debate between if Derek and Isaiah Simmons are there both, which I doubted at 10, which you pick. But there's no doubt. Tackle, this is why I keep telling my guys on my channel, tackles get a little bit overdrafted because tackles are so hard to find. And once you have it, you covet it. I mean, look, the Browns had Thomas for the longest time, and that is a blessing. Whoever you can find that and you can plug it there. I mean, we have right now with Stanley, and I know AC. Hopefully, Williams is also for you guys this year, and it's super hard. So that's why I will not be surprised if at least four tackles go in the top 10, in this year's draft. Now, Isaiah Simmons. I think the question also comes because I saw a mock draft having Cleveland trading up to 4. To get Isaiah Simmons, and one of these might have been CBS.
That would be
I think so too.
That would be dumb.
I would say just being that the Bengals are in a similar position to the Browns when it comes to having weaknesses on the offensive line and at linebacker, I think that what you guys are saying is correct. You don't pass on any of those top flight offensive linemen for a linebacker. Yes, Isaiah Simmons is definitely the best linebacker, head and shoulders above everyone else in this class, but you can also get a linebacker in the second or third round. If you wait to do that with the offensive line, the drop off is going to be tremendous. And I think if you have a guy like Andrew Thomas sitting there, I'm personally, as a Bengals fan, hoping that Andrew Thomas isn't drafted by the Browns. And I would be more worried about Andrew Thomas getting drafted to the Browns than Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes down to positional value, right? I mean, and we're not even talking about the positional value of tackle versus linebacker. It's linebacker versus quarterback, right? Because what you're doing by drafting an offensive lineman is enabling your, first pick overall quarterback. So,
yeah. Yep. So there's some question there for Tony. Why are you hating on quarterbacks? Is basically what he's saying.
I'm not hating on quarterback. I just look. There's no value of taking a quarterback late in the draft, right? And the Steelers have so many other needs right now at depth positions that I think a late round pick, whether it be a wide receiver, offensive lineman, defensive line, edge, cornerback, safety, linebacker. I mean, I think there's a ton of other spots on the roster of a guy who can make an impact right away, even on special teams, rather than taking a quarterback who you're going to take a flyer on. When the Steelers are ready to draft their replacement for Ben Roethlisberger, it's going to come via a first round pick again. Look, I know they still believe in Mason Rudolph. I do not. But they believe in Mason Rudolph as a backup at least, and that's why I think they're comfortable going into 2020 with Ben as the starter and Mason as the backup, and then my boy Duck is still around.
Hey Tony, I got a question for you regarding the quarterback thing.
Sure.
Say you start out the season and Ben kind of just like he looks kind of done, right? Mm-hmm. And he doesn't look like Ben anymore. Would you entertain the possibility of just like bottoming it out in order to get Trevor Lawrence? I mean, like, it's not very Steeler of the Steelers to do such a thing, but it would become a real possibility if Ben's ceiling this year, like say, worst case scenario, he looks like maybe 6-10, maybe 8-8 if he really can get it going.
Right.
What do you?
Well, okay. Let's two things there, right? One, I think the problem with talking about, if Ben has a slow start, do you just bottom out? The problem is Ben always has a slow start to the seasons, right? I mean, you remember the last two times he started against the Browns opening day, right? Not good performances from Ben. I think he threw 4 interceptions in that game in the rain. Mm-hmm. He was bad. Yeah. I mean, he's been bad to start. I mean, he was bad in New England last year, bad in Seattle before the elbow injury.
And he's going to be rusty because he didn't play last year.
Yeah, he didn't play. He's got to get on the same page with James Washington and Deontay Johnson. I expect a slow start to the season from Ben anyway. Now, if we get to midseason and it's still struggling, right? I question whether or not this team, with what they have defensively, could they really go like 5-11 or 4-12? I just don't think so. Considering that they had Mason Rudolph and Duck at quarterback for the majority of the time last year, I don't think the defense is going to get significantly worse. We're going to take an 8-8 team with Duck and Mason, and even with a bad Ben Roethlisberger, I still feel like 8-8, 7-9. I guess maybe you could throw 6-10 in there if the ball bounced their way or doesn't bounce their way. But I would look as a fan, Quincy. Of course, I would love to bottom out. If Ben looks like he's done, right, by midseason, it's like, okay, this elbow thing is over, right? Maybe we need to start putting Mason in, right? If that talk starts happening, yeah, let's bottom out and get Trevor, and let's because we've talked about this before. I do not want to sit in quarterback hell, even though I know that future is coming for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So say you're at week 6 and the Steelers are 2-4, right? You're going into week 7. Mm-hmm. You're 2-4. Ben, hey, he's been looking okay. You got a decision to make there, because it's very possible you can rally this out and even it out at 8-8, maybe make the playoffs with the extra seat that they're going to add this year, and try to fight for that. But is that going to be worth it, losing to Kansas City in the first round or Baltimore in the first round, versus, maybe being in a situation where you can have Trevor Lawrence versus whoever's going to be the mid-round, first-round guy next year? I don't even know or have a clue who that guy is going to be. Maybe like what's the guy at Ohio State?
I forgot. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I forgot his name.
Yeah, so maybe him. So there's a big difference there. And if you're 2-6 at 2-4 at that point in the season, mm-hmm. You do have some serious questions to answer. And it's going to be an interesting thing where culture lines up with the future, and everything lines up historically. The Steelers aren't going to make that choice. I just wonder if that's going to be something that's going to bite them in the butt.
Right. And I think they had, it's interesting because they had that choice this year, right? I mean, they, basically trading for Minka, right? Trading that first round pick at the time, the week Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt. So they haven't seen Mason Rudolph start a game yet. They didn't know they were going to have to go to Duck later in the year, but they still made the calculation like we're not going to bottom out as an organization. So we're going to trade for a guy who we think can change our defense, and we're going to try and ride this thing out and be, even average would be fine. And that's what they did. And so I think they would do the same thing in 2020, right? They would try to ride it out. Absolutely. 7-9 makes the playoffs. Then, 7-9 Steelers are making the playoffs in 2020.
But what happened with it? Has there any discussion of bringing 30 for 30?
30 for 30. Oh, no. Jameis?
I think it's a hell of a backup.
I'm on board. The longer this goes on, I all of a sudden become on board. Okay, hear me out on why I'm on board for Jameis all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Because for me, it was always about price tag, right? Look, if I can bring Jameis in for, let's say, $5 million this year, and then it like escalates in 2020, absolutely as an insurance policy. Look, I think Jameis Winston on the Pittsburgh Steelers is not going to throw 30 interceptions. Now, he's probably going to throw a lot. But let's not forget, the last time Ben Roethlisberger started for the Steelers in 16 games, and that was 2 years ago, he threw the most interceptions in the league. So the Steelers, and he threw for 5,000 yards that year. The Steelers were 9-6-1. And really, we're competing with they were the last team to beat the Patriots that year. They were very competitive with the Saints. They could have made the playoffs that year. They collapsed down the stretch. But no, I think they could make things work with Jameis Winston. It avoids quarterback hell. I don't think it puts them in a situation to necessarily win a title, but it avoids the kind of quarterback hell that I think all of you are very much looking forward to Pittsburgh going through.
I'm interested to see how that will work from a office politics standpoint with Jameis Winston and Big Ben both in there, just because, Jameis Winston doesn't strike me as the type of dude who's going to be like, I'm going to just hold the clipboard and do my thing. Right. And, I'm going to stay quiet and be out the way. I don't feel like that's Jameis's personality. And something strikes me about Big Ben, that Big Ben probably ain't going to be too cool with having a dude who was drafted overall.
Let's be honest, Big Ben got salty when they drafted Mason Rudolph in the third round.
Mason Rudolph can't play football. Right. Like Jameis Winston can play a little bit of football. Like
I agree. But my point to you is he got salty just in a matter that they drafted a guy. If they actually bring
they drafted his replacement, right?
Yeah,
and they drafted his replacement. Right? I mean, the competitor in Ben should get a little upset. I'm like, hey, man, listen. Especially look, and I understand why he got upset. I actually thought he was right to be upset. He was wrong to air it publicly. That was a year the Steelers were coming off of a 13-3 season. They had an embarrassing loss in the playoffs to the Jaguars, but they had some holes to fill on that team that they did not, specifically inside linebacker. Okay, remember John Bostic starting for the Steelers? He was atrocious. And the Steelers did not address inside linebacker that year. Instead, they drafted a developmental tackle in Chuck Okorafor and then Mason Rudolph, two players who had no impact on the 2017 season. Ben Roethlisberger was absolutely right to be angry that they wasted a third-round pick on Mason. He was wrong to air it publicly.
Fair. So, Ace, there's a question for you.
Sure. So it seems that we want to talk about Mixon's holdout. How could this really affect, or what could it be? Could it potentially be a Melvin Gordon situation? I kind of talked about this the other day. Melvin Gordon, as we know, was in a contract situation where he essentially held out for 4 games. It really backfired on him. He ended up coming back and caving in. However, at the end of the day, he ended up signing for $8 million on a 1-year deal. Didn't even sign in the first week, if I'm not mistaken. And then that money was essentially given to Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler actually ended up having more guaranteed money in his contract than Melvin Gordon even ended up getting, which is crazy. So that was a complete disaster for him. It was, in my opinion, worse than the Le'Veon Bell situation because he lost a ton of money and essentially just took a huge L. So essentially what happened is we're hearing that Joe Mixon is holding out for a new deal. He is supposedly said that if he does not receive a brand new deal from the Bengals, is that he's going to apparently hold out during training camp and possibly this season. He hasn't mentioned this season, but he did say that he was going to hold out. For me, just from doing some research, apparently in the new CBA that they just changed, he cannot do that. If he does do that, he will not accrue a season. So he will not be able to hold out and come back next year and be on another team. He'd still be on the Bengals. For me, it doesn't make sense, and he's really playing a dangerous game because the Bengals have enough behind him to actually not really worry about him not being there because they do have Giovanni Bernard, who's more than capable. They also have Rodney Anderson, who really flashed last year in preseason, ended up getting injured. He's had a pretty bad injury history dating all the way back to college. Actually backed up Joe Mixon, in college, and was very capable. Was supposed to be a way earlier guy in terms of the draft, but because of that injury, kind of fell under that scope. So for me, it's bad for him because we have a more than capable backfield that is in place, and also just signed Jaquez Patrick, a running back from Tampa from the XFL, who actually is a former Florida State Seminole and is a former 5-star recruit from high school. So he's no slouch. So they're pretty much prepared to take on that. And then he's in a situation where he literally has no leverage. And that's what I say when we talk about this, because in the Chargers situation, Melvin Gordon had absolutely no leverage. Joe Mixon's in the same area exactly, possibly even worse, just because he doesn't have as much money as guys like Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell. So this is a guy that's playing on a $4 million deal. Can he really hold out and pass on offers from the Bengals in order to make a statement where if the Bengals get Joe Burrow in, and let's just say he goes 2-1, automatically there's no need for us to have Joe Mixon and he's replaceable.
Where are you on paying running backs in general, right? Like the Christian McCaffrey deal.
Right. So for me, this didn't come as a surprise to me because the Bengals were reportedly far apart from Mixon before the Christian McCaffrey deal even happened. And so when the Christian McCaffrey deal happened, I was just like, oh my God, there's no way that I could give him $16 million a year. There's no way that I could give Joe Mixon that. Now, if we're talking about $10 to $11 million a year, I can get behind that. But Christian McCaffrey is essentially a wide receiver because he's able to also have 1,000 receiving yards in comparison to Joe Mixon, who had 200. So he's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not, in my opinion, I kind of got into this with other Bengals fans. I love Joe Mixon, but I cannot definitively say that he's better than Derrick Henry right now. There's a lot of people saying that Joe Mixon is a top 5 running back and he deserves Zeke money. And I'm like, he's not Zeke. Like, I love Joe Mixon. He's a great player. Wow. Ezekiel Elliott, to me, is the best running back in the NFL. There's no way that he has that kind of leverage, and there's no way that we should be paying him near that amount of money, in my opinion. So to me, the most that I would probably go with Joe Mixon would be 10 to 11 million a year. And that's simply because not only is he a running back, he's low-key the best offensive player for the Bengals. Now, a lot of people are going to say AJ Green. I'm one of the biggest AJ Green fans that you will meet. But I would have to say right now at this moment in time in 2020 and possibly last season that Joe Mixon has been the best offensive player on the Bengals. So that would be the only reason, as well as him being a character injury. I mean, not character, but energy guy. He's really got positive energy. He's really put out leadership vibes since he's been there. I know that sounds crazy because given his history, but he's really a guy that doesn't give up, and he's really a guy that doesn't quit. And the Bengals really need that kind of personality in the locker room.
Have you guys heard these rumors of Leonard Fournette getting traded?
Yes.
Over the last couple of days, the Steelers are supposedly involved in this.
Yes,
they ought to do that. They need
for
it.
the second
the Steelers,
round.
The thing with the Steelers, I think that they need to do is like whether they're going to have a quarterback or not. You know, the thing that gets slept on with running backs is that if you have a good enough running back, your offense can run on that back for at least 2 years. You know, the Titans were really doing the thing with Derrick Henry, where they're just kind of just jump starting that offense with Derrick Henry, and then just having Ryan Tannehill piggyback behind him and get the easy throws are going to open up because of the run game. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, look, the situation at quarterback, whether Ben comes back and he's Ben or not, it's going to be kind of a guessing situation.
Yeah, it's a question mark. It's absolutely a question mark.
Nothing's guaranteed. And if you're the Steelers, like, hey, that James Conner is not going to carry your offense. You know that Juju Smith-Schuster is not going to carry your offense. You might want to get an engine. And I think if Leonard Fournette could stay healthy, I think he'd be a better candidate for that. I think you might be able to get away with like a J.K. Dobbins in the draft, but that's getting ahead of myself. Right. But the ideal of drafting somebody or signing somebody that can be an engine to your offense that's not a quarterback is not a ridiculous one at all.
No, I think the Steelers definitely, one of their big needs this year is going to be running back. And in fact, Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin talked earlier today at a press conference. And look, you had to read between the lines. Obviously, they're not going to come out and say we're taking a running back. But, you read between the lines what they're saying. That they like the top of this running back class. And I think a guy like Jonathan Taylor, I think Cam Akers, either of those guys could be Steelers. Those are the kind of, the bigger backs that they look for. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but 5'7", 200 is just not a guy that they're going to take. There's my problem with Fournette, right? One, it's the contract, right? We talk about money with Mixon, the $10 million. I don't want to pay $4 million for Leonard Fournette, right? I'm on board with like draft running backs, pay them nothing, and then, just sweep them out and like bring another one in, right? And I know that sucks for the players. And I feel bad for that's where the running back position is right now, but that's where the value in the position is. So, Fournette's in a contract year. If I pay him $4 million this year, I got a 5th-year option him next year. I don't want a 5th-year option Leonard Fournette. And then, I like you said, I'd rather have a J.K. Dobbins, a DeAndre Swift, a Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, any of those guys.
Yeah, I see where you come from with the whole running back. Maybe you don't want to pay him that much. Here's the thing that I'll say where you can push back on that a little bit when it comes to running backs getting paid is that running backs are disposable if you have a quarterback, if you have an offense in place.
Right.
If you don't, then they're not really that. That's why the Panthers had to pay Christian McCaffrey that money, because ultimately he's the offense. You're not going to tell me that Teddy Bridgewater, like I like Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater ain't the engine to that offense. It's going to be all centered around Christian McCaffrey.
But I would argue that if you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter what the rest of your offense is. Like, you're not going to win a Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter. I mean, you might make you might pull a Derrick Henry thing off where you make a cute couple upsets and then
all I'm saying is that there's a fan of a team here in this chat right now that has won 2 Super Bowls with 2 quarterbacks that not many people would deem positives at the quarterback position.
Right, it's a different era.
Yeah, well, that 2012 is not that much of a different area.
Flacco played fantastic in that run. Flacco, he had out of body experience, and I thank him for it, because that Super Bowl led to him getting the greatest contract of all time and sending that team into a spiral.
Like, if you have a good enough offense, you got a good enough running back around there, you can hang around to where your mediocre quarterback can't have those 4 good games. Look at Philadelphia. Anybody who could play starting level quarterback in the NFL can get hot for a few games. That's not really unheard of. It's just being able to get to that point and support yourself to where you're not a negative in the offensive category, like Mason Rudolph was making the Steelers kind of a negative in the offensive category, despite what was going on around him, I think is also important.
What about Zeke, though? Like, if you guys had Zeke on your team, you'd pay Zeke the money.
You got
Steelers?
Yes. If you had a Zeke,
but that's because we have the pieces all around it, right? We have a good offensive line, good wide receivers, right? Well, you guys are going to question the wide receivers, but I believe they're good. The quarterback play, which you guys will also question, I believe it's going to be fine, right? All of those pieces mean that, of course, if you had Zeke to the Steelers offense, they're going to be fantastic. But I think, look at Le'Veon Bell and the Jets, right? Le'Veon Bell, I think, is the most talented running back in the league. But you put him on a team with no weapons, no offensive line, no talent offensively. He's not changing anything for them, right? They're not going anywhere with that team. So, that's my thing. Is I would rather have the pieces around first, then add the running back. And again, it doesn't have to be like a top tier running back, right? I mean, the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl with Damian Williams. I mean, and the 49ers had a couple undrafted guys. Matt Breida and
you guys don't have Mahomes.
Mozart,
or him. You guys don't have a receiver either.
But the Titans also made it to the AFC Championship solely behind Derrick Henry. Right. And then we've seen what the running game has done for the Ravens in the AFC. So, I mean, like there's a certain argument there that I would say is there for the running back to get paid. It's really situational. Right. I don't believe in saying like all running backs shouldn't get paid or, like they're having like this flat floor, because they're just different systems and different circumstances.
And it's definitely different situations, because given that we have, Joe Burrow on a rookie contract, we can actually afford to pay Joe Mixon that money. So it really just depends on the situation.
Yep.
So let me do some rapid fire questions so we can start here.
Definitely.
But so here's one for Quincy. Give him your quick answer for that.
Okay, so how would Nick Chubb's touches be affected with Kevin Stefanski? People, I've seen some weird arguments, but like if you bring up the numbers from Minnesota, they weren't a balanced offense at all last year. They ran the ball much more than they passed it, and much more efficiently than the Browns did last year. The Browns were actually pretty balanced last year, so I would look for the Browns to be less balanced than they were last year. Nick Chubb is going to get a ton of looks there, and I think Kareem Hunt's going to be used as a pseudo slot receiver too. Also,
so in here, I think this is one for all of us, but let me just do a very quick answer for him. I think, and this is from the question of Coughlin not being in the Titans. I think the big problem is, and this is where the Titans should draft a tackle to try to replace Coughlin. Derrick Henry, the way to stop him is try to hit him before he gets speed, right? If he passes that first level, it's gonna be hard to bring him down. He's a big boy, strong dude. So without Coughlin, the question is that right side, is it gonna get very weak? Then now he can get exposed and somebody can rush quick to that side and break that run before it happens. I think Cleveland did the right thing. They got a good right tackle. They shore up that side. I'm surprised the Titans didn't
Coughlin has been kind of he's had some issues there with them. I could understand why they would let him go just because there's some mental issues that he's had there. Not saying that it's going to continue with the Browns, but I could kind of see why they would move on from him.
I understand, but the problem right now is that we go back to the tackle play in the whole league. It's so hard to find a decent tackle, even if you consider him decent, not great. But it's so hard.
They still have Taylor Lewan, so they have their best.
That's on the
tackle.
one side. That's on the but you literally had, let's put it, decent bookends, right? Let's not call it superstar, but at least a solid one.
Right.
And I think it would affect Henry. But what do you guys think?
I think Derrick Henry is a rare human being that people don't want to tackle him. So I don't see someone just saying like, "Oh yeah, now it's wide open for me to tackle Derrick Henry. I'm going to do it." I think that the Titans, they're in a situation where they're going to have to pay a lot of these guys, right? They just had to pay Tannehill. Somebody had to bite the bullet. They also had to franchise Derrick Henry. The thing is, one thing that I will say, although the Bengals don't have a good track record with it because our right tackle has been horrible the last couple of years, but you can find a right tackle in the second or third round. The Ravens did it with Orlando Brown. That you can actually fix. Now, left tackle, that's a totally different story. We're talking first round for sure, top 10, top 20. But given the fact that they could probably take one of these guys in a very deep tackle class, by the way, they can probably get away with replacing Jack Conklin on that side. But I just think it would be hard to tackle Derrick Henry. I would not want to sign up for that.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. With Derrick Henry, now he's not like he doesn't accelerate fast. So I see what you're saying there, Sonny. Yeah. And he's not somebody who's going to explode through a hole. He's definitely somebody who's just going to wear out a defense over time. But I think what Tennessee does really well that a lot of teams don't do, and especially like watching the Browns compared to what Tennessee was doing, is that they are very well coached on the NFL level. And what I mean by that is that their blocking schemes are just very, very good. The way that they have these chips come off, the way that they're designed, also the way that they're kind of like they're kind of making up for Derrick Henry's kind of faults as a runner by being able to let him get more into space and get that downhill momentum. It really reminds me, because if you watch Nick Chubb, most of his best plays are when he's able to get to the right and then go downhill, because once he goes downhill, he's a bowling ball. He's fast, he's hard to tackle, and he's very elusive. It's kind of a similar way there, but you can see how the Browns don't execute it good, and the Titans do, and I think they'll be able to find somebody who could be at least serviceable so he doesn't fall off the face of the earth this year.
Tony, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think Derrick Henry's definitely in for a regression year. I mean, he had 1,500 yards last year. I think that comes down a little bit. Certainly teams are going to come into 2020 and make sure that his gigantic games don't happen. But look, obviously losing Conklin's going to hurt. I thought he was going to have a regression year regardless. I am surprised though, like you, that they didn't keep him, because they have the cap space to do it. They had the cap space to keep him. And so keeping that team intact probably was a smarter move, but we'll see what they do on Thursday.
I think here we're all in agreement. The DeAndre Hopkins trade is the dumbest trade of the year so far.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean if the Brandon Cooks trade right behind it, but yeah.
Hold on. I want to give an honorable mention to the Nick Foles trade.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty dumb. You didn't want to pay Teddy. You didn't want to pay a free agent quarterback, so you traded for the most overhyped, overpaid one.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's been a lot of bad trades, which is why I can't wait for Thursday, because all the technical difficulties they're going to have, right? The teams reaching on players that they don't know about. I mean, it's going to be just an absolute.
I Quite
The Bengals had one
honestly,
today, apparently. I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was an actual technical difficulty, but it was reported earlier that.
Yeah, but it wasn't their fault, right? It was like the NFL's fault.
Hey, so we know how the Bengals get down. They might call you for your help. They might need you to.
I'm like, look, we need some fiber optic connections, guys. This is not the time to be cheap, Mike Brown.
No, exactly.
Mike Brown would be like, do we have any gentlemen who know how FiOS works?
You're over there, and you're walking into the Bengals facility, and you hear the modem sound as the dial-up, and you're like, "What?"
I wouldn't be surprised if it was an AOL account that they were logging into with one of those free trial discs.
They got one of those AT&T routers you got at home for the whole building.
The whole building.
So it looks like Troy is asking, what are the Bengals going to do with Dalton? Essentially, they're probably going to end up cutting him. There's no way they're going to pay a backup $17 million to take snaps behind Joe Burrow. There is a possibility that Dalton could come back, but it would have to be under a restructured contract. I think some of that $17 million definitely has been used on some of these free agents that we have brought in, and it just makes it an awkward situation. But for right now, I'd probably have to say that the Bengals are probably I'd probably say 80% are going to release Andy Dalton.
Do you think the reason they're keeping him is on the off, and I'm talking about the 1% chance that someone like Miami comes in with the sweetheart deal of a lifetime for number 1 overall, and they go, okay, fine, we'll take it.
Not for the number 1 deal, but I think that they're hoping that someone will say a Jacksonville, who's been rumored to possibly be a landing spot, being that they have the connection to Jay Gruden there. And there's also been, of course, the Patriots that have checked in on them. I think if either one of those teams offer them any pick, I think they'll take it versus them just being able to release them.
So you think they want to trade Dalton still?
Yeah, I think they want to trade Dalton still. I think I'd even be willing to bet that they may try to hold on to him, possibly even after the draft, and wait until some kind of injury happens during training camp or something like that where they can get him off.
Gotcha.
That's true, but it's just I think this is one of those weird years where the quarterback market is just so oversaturated. There are a lot of options out there that aren't terrible options to go for, which is surprising
out there.
Yeah, Cam, two former number 1 overall picks are out there, and guys who are very hyped number 1 overall picks, and Jameis Winston, Cam Newton are out there. You could still get yourself an Andy Dalton if you really want it. And then even in the draft, you're probably not going to be able to get Tua or Joe Burrow. I would hope those two don't make any slides, but you can still get yourself, maybe you could try Jalen Hurts. Maybe you can, go for a safe guy, an Andy Dalton level guy, and a Jake Fromm. There's some options out there. It's just going to be, that's why I think it's so hard for these guys to get moved. And I think it's going to be hard on the quarterbacks too.
It's going to be hard for us because the Jacksonville thing, I think it's clear that they're tanking for Trevor Lawrence, right? I think we can all agree that that's what they're doing. I think that's part of the Leonard Fournette thing as well. I think that they're just trying to essentially give themselves the best opportunity to have that number 1 pick next year. And that's what worries me, because if you get Andy Dalton, it definitely helps your chances, at least. That's why we ended up benching him after week 8, because we knew that if we threw Ryan Finley in there, it's not going to be as easy to try to come away with a win. So that's the only thing that scares me.
Most definitely.
Okay, so before we start the mock draft, we're gonna do 7-round mock draft. Everybody's picking their team. So obviously, I have a couple. I think I had 7 or 8 picks. Ace has a bunch, Quincy has, and Tony's just an spectator for this one.
I have 6 picks. Listen, it's a little later.
But before we start, this is a last question for Ace.
Oh, Joe Burrow. If I had a choice between Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow, I'm going Joe Burrow. He had the most amazing college season that we've seen in a while. A lot of people are saying since Andrew Luck. So
yeah,
Joe Burrow did ridiculous things and I was talking about this with the guy. It was just ridiculous. Like in the playoffs against Clemson, which is a very good defense.
Right.
Just absolutely tore him to shreds.
You guys don't dock him at all for playing with all the talent that he played with?
No.
I mean, we ain't docking Tua.
I mean, yeah,
I think
you should have to dock Tua as well. I was fighting that throughout the season.
Right, but you would dock Lawrence. I mean, look, Lawrence played with Etienne and
but here's my argument with docking players for having talent around them. If you're playing with a ton of talent and you're not like in the MAC or the Sun Belt, you're probably playing against a ton of talent because you're either Ohio State or you're in the SEC. So, sure, he played with a ton of talent, but like, let's not pretend like a bunch of the people getting drafted this year. I mean, look at all the LSU DBs and all the SEC defensive backs that are slotted to go in the first 2 rounds. He made them look ridiculous. Like he single-handedly helped people in the second round get a ton of corners because he just made people look ridiculous. This year.
Jefferson's one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft. He's
mine too.
Okay, but here's my if I had one pushback on Burrow, and look, I don't really have a pushback on Burrow. He's going to be fantastic, but like he is kind of a 1-year wonder, right? Whereas if we're talking Lawrence versus Burrow, I would say Lawrence because he's and Lawrence had some setbacks last year, especially the interceptions he threw. But I think Burrow in his his junior year, look, he wasn't fantastic. Now you got the new offensive coordinator. Obviously, that offense last year was loaded with weapons, and he lit it up. Lawrence is going to have done it now. We'll see what he does in 2020, but he's going to have done it for 3 consecutive years unless he takes a major step back.
I mean, if that's the criticism for Joe Burrow, I get it, but you have to also realize in 2017 that was him coming to a brand new team, learning a brand new offense, right? There's going to be some growing pains there, but I think what I liked about the end of 2017 was how he ended it, right? When you look at that bowl game that they had against UCF, he comes out, he gets clobbered, they go down 10-0, and he shows the moxie to fight back and get back into that game and just have an amazing game. I think he threw for 4 touchdowns or something like that. But when you look at the end of 2017, you kind of see how he took that momentum and kind of rode it into 2018. So that's what kind of gave me some comfort, especially was that UCF game.
Yeah, and I would say also like to the 1-year wonder thing, like people knew he was going to be good at Ohio State. It was just that Dwayne Haskins had more of those flashy tools. Joe Burrow doesn't have like those flashy tools that are going to get you off the bench at a place like Ohio State where like he can't throw the ball a mile like Dwayne Haskins did. That's why Haskins got the nod because Meyer went with the upside there and didn't want to go with the finished product or what he thought was a finished product. But at the end of the day, I'll take any 1-year wonder if they do for 60 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions in the SEC.
I think comparing him to Lawrence, though, right? Like, let's not sell Lawrence short because Lawrence, came in as a freshman, and look, Kelly Bryant, who had lost 1 game as Clemson starter.
Tony, are you hoping Lawrence is your quarterback next year? This is why this conversation is going.
I'm laying the seed right now
for Lawrence.
Lay down for Lawrence.
I also think though there's a distinction between Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence because if you look at Joe Burrow, that's a game that's going to take significantly less infrastructure to kind of push to the NFL than a Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence is a lot more like Cam Newton than people think. He's a lot more of a physical kind of runner, big arm kind of guy. So you're going to have some things in place and kind of adjust around him in order to have him be in an immediately successful situation. Joe Burrow, I mean, like if you just watch, like he really wasn't in a system. Well, he was in a system last year, but like a lot of his plays were kind of like out of rhythm, just like him balling, just straight up. Like, when you watch somebody drop a dime at the quarterback position, you just like,
yeah,
come on. Like, you get angry at your television set. It's just sometimes it just takes people a while to develop and get their shot. And I guess, he did his thing. Can't hate on him.
Let's remember, Lawrence has 1 more year, right? So he's going to develop over the next year as well.
Hey, and Trevor Lawrence could become a freak too next year, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's going to be interesting too.
My guys, this is the conversation that you can expect in this channel. We can answer questions. Hopefully you're liking the show. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up as you're watching the show. If you're watching the replay, please hit that thumbs up. But this is what this channel is all about: conversation between all AFC North, just balanced debate. Anyway, let's get started with our draft.
Joe Burrow, man, come on. Why are we wasting this time?
Get right to 10.
I just want to make sure you said it. Okay, I just want Tony, if you want, you can take a break.
Yeah, I was gonna get a water or something, maybe like a snack. I'll see you guys in about a half hour.
Okay, so in this draft, there's no tackle has been selected in the first 9 picks.
Yeah, Derek Brown is gone, and
Derek Brown, Isaiah
Brown
Simmons
went 7, Tua went 5, Isaiah Simmons, Jeffrey Okudah. That makes sense there. Justin Herbert. So we got all the tackles.
This is the only crazy pick that I see here. I mean, I expect the tackles to
Patrick
go
Queen
quicker.
is what, 8?
Hey, that happens in the draft. You always have one of those.
I
ones that
know,
are
I
like,
know,
what?
but I'm just saying, in general, the rest is not unheard of, right? You're talking about Derek Brown at 7. That is a possibility. Simmons at 4. Then the 2 quarterbacks. Queens for me is an outlier there, but Derek Brown at 7 and CJ Henderson, if they cover the corner, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, I can see that.
All
Anyway,
right. So here is a perfect situation to where if this is what happens come draft day, I can promise you 100%
trade
that
back.
the Browns might trade back because let's scroll up to see. Well, if we look at who's available after that, you have the Las Vegas Raiders, the San Francisco 49ers. You also have the Denver Broncos. They're at 15. You have what?
14 Buccaneers.
The Falcons want to move up. Remember, the Falcons keep talking about wanting to move up.
Yeah, the Falcons want to move up. Then you also have the Raiders there too. So you have a team that's going to want one of these wide receivers that are also available because I do think CD Lamb is still there. So it's Henry.
All wide receivers.
All of
them.
Judy. So that's a situation where if I were the Browns, like, hey, like maybe you're not fully in love with Jedrick Wills like everybody else is, or like some people are, and maybe you're okay with taking one of the other tackles. You can trade back, go to 13. You know he's going to be available there. Maybe even get a little dicey and trade back to 14 and get a little bit more there. And be able to take a Mekhi Becton there at 12 or 13. So this is a perfect situation where the Browns probably would trade back a few spots just to probably get a 3rd round pick or extra, maybe if they're lucky, a second if somebody's super desperate for somebody. But since we're just going to go straight up here.
This could also be a spot for Herbert, right? Because
no wide receivers off the board either. This is crazy.
Yeah, the wide receivers not being off the board is what would guarantee this. Somebody's going to trade up because somebody is going to want the freaky deaky TD. Okay.
So I have a question for you guys based on that. I mean, this is one of the most fascinating drafts because we don't have the pro days, right? There's a lot of unknowns. Yep. For me, if you're a team, example, the Jacksonville Jaguars need everything, and there's other teams that need a lot. Jets, for example, they might use a tackle, they can use a wide receiver. But in a deep class of wide receiver, would you go with the tackle or other positions before you hit on the wide receiver? I mean, I'm asking you guys, what do you think?
No, that's a really good point because that's something that was asked of Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert today during their pre-draft press conference, which was, look, if you have a position where it's very thin, are you going to take that guy versus a position with more need or a better player, but there's, it's a deeper draft? And he said, look, we would take the thinner position, right? And I think for the Steelers, we're going to talk about this when we get to 49, but that's why I think running back is more likely than wide receiver there. But I think you're right. I think, and what's interesting here is that you get the 10 picks of no wide receivers, and is that because, could that be because teams feel like, well, look, we can still get a Jalen Reagor in the 2nd round. We can still get a Denzel Mims, one of these guys later on.
As desperate as the Raiders have been to try to replace Amari Cooper since they traded him, and as much as the 49ers have really struggled to have a real wide receiver there. I mean, they tried with Emmanuel Sanders last year. I just think those two teams specifically are going to be desperate at that point to get there. And I think they both have the resources. Both of them, I think, have 2 first round. Well, yeah, obviously with the 49ers, they have 2 first round picks. They have the resources to move up and compete with each other. This is music to Andrew Berry's ear because like 2 teams with two picks in the first round are both desperate to have your spot right here because they're both trying to compete with each other to get the same dude. Right. And I think the Raiders are probably going to be more prone to do something stupid, like give you the extra first, to get a CD Lamb. I think they'll do something stupid like that. So, you're in a dream spot here, but since we're doing this straight up, my heart says Becton, but I can't realistically suggest that they don't take Jedrick Wills at 10 if he's available. Come on, this dude's this is probably the best tackle in the draft when we comes to pass blocking. Very good technique, very good feet. Very strong player, can play the left or right side. Very versatile. I don't see how you don't do it.
Tony, that's for you. That's a comment there for you.
Yeah, I saw it. Can we ban Troy from the chat?
Be salty. That's salty, man. Okay. So here's where the Ravens go and take their running back because we need that running back to beat. No, I'm joking. I hate every single mock that mocks a running back to us. I hate it with passion. Anyway,
is it a possibility at all? Do you think? I mean, is early running back?
I don't think so. Maybe at 2nd, but even that is a very, very, very long shot. In the 3rd maybe 4th or later. They usually pick a running back in every draft.
So
This is before Lamar.
Ingram's coming back. You have Justice Hill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Gus Edwards.
Right. So where would a running back fit in the depth chart? Is he
will fight
someone to compete with Ingram?
It will fight for RB3. This is why I don't understand the whole RB first round running back.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, if it is a running back that can return, we don't have a really good returner. But again, 4th round or later, I see the point. And you can put him in the returner, and then Ingram.
None of these guys are going to return, though.
Hey, Sonny.
No. Go ahead, man.
What do you think of Denzel Mims?
I like Mims.
You like Mims?
I think Mims is the receiver that I want is a physical receiver. I think we had the speed on Hollywood Brown. I won for Lamar what Joe had in Anquan Boldin. That's the type. Now Mims is not Boldin, but I'm looking for that bigger frame. We got Boykins last year, and but he's more of the developmental guy. Mims, if Jefferson is there, that's another guy that I like a lot.
Like Pittman at all?
I love Pittman in the 2nd round. I love T. Higgins. So one of those receivers are the receivers that I would like.
Oh wow, T. Higgins is going to be in the 2nd round, huh?
That's what I mean. This mocks this year's are all over the place.
Wide receiver class is just so incredibly deep.
It all depends. This is why I said.
Also,
go ahead.
What do you think about getting an edge rusher there, like a Yetur Gross-Matos?
I don't like Yetur. I'm not a fan, but I like Epinesa. I don't know if you see it. I like Epinesa a lot. I'm not a big fan of Yetur.
Is Judah done in Baltimore, or is that?
I think they don't want to pay him the money that he wants. I think he's gonna play under attack this year. I think that's what it is.
By chance, can we get a quick recap of who all went before the Ravens?
Yeah, of course.
Just cut off a little bit. Okay.
So Henry Ruggs with pick 11. Jeff Gladney, corner, went to the Raiders. CeeDee Lamb went to San Francisco. Wirfs to Tampa. Becton to Broncos. Kinlaw to Atlanta. Fulton went to the Cowgirls. Finns went to the Dolphins got Andrew Thomas.
They got Jerry Jeudy at 19.
At 19.
Jeudy was the 3rd wide receiver.
Xavier McKinney went 20th. Jefferson went to Eagles. Chase On, that's a guy that I like, to the Vikings. Jordan Love to the Patriots. The Aints got Mims. Jalen Johnson, corner, goes to the Vikings, and Delpit goes to what happened?
Okay, so I have a situation there for 23 with the Patriots. I think it's going to get interesting here with them. I know that they drafted Sony Michel a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Bill Belichick didn't get rid of Tom Brady the way he did without a real plan. And I think we're going to see that manifest itself in this draft. Now, this is just me talking out the side of my neck. I don't know anything. But I think it's very possible that it's some combination of maybe pick 30, or they could trade back into the 1st round so they can get their 5th-year option on the guy that they want at quarterback. It's not Jordan Love. I think Jalen Hurts would make a ton of sense for Bill Belichick.
Though, wouldn't it?
Well, you want the 5th-year option on the quarterback.
You want the 5th year. You're right, 5th year.
Yeah, if you're going to draft them, you might as well get him with the 5th-year option and spend a little bit more on him. And then with the 23rd pick, maybe you can spend it on a guy like J.K. Dobbins and really just go all in on changing your offense to being run heavy, play action based, which Jalen Hurts can go. And if you look at Jalen Hurts and his personality and how he handled things at Alabama, I think he has a lot of traits of a Belichick mode kind of guy. I mean, this is a down to business dude. I remember him at Oklahoma. He would beat guys by like 40, and then you'll go to him after the game. He's just like Kawhi Leonard after the game, just like, I'm on to the next one. He's a very Patriots kind of guy.
I love his personality.
It's a good point.
Yeah, and I think Bill Belichick's going to really enjoy that, see the athleticism there, and think maybe I don't think it's going to be the Ravens system he's going to run there, but he's going to think of something where it's like, hey, I can have him work in a different way, like kind of like how the Bills do Josh Allen, and kind of make that my next move. I think Bill Belichick's going to adapt in a way that people aren't used to, because I just can't believe he's going to go into a season with Brian Hoyer and Cody Kessler.
Jared Stidham. Don't forget about Jared Stidham.
And Jared Stidham, the failed Browns all-star team, as his quarterback depth chart. I just don't think that's his plan.
It's a really good point you make about, transitioning to a more run-heavy offense there in New England, because I think that's something they wanted to do last year, more of using the fullback. But then what was our fullback's name? Devlin. He got hurt last year, and that kind of threw everything up in the air for them. They had to change on the fly. They went out and traded for that wide receiver from Atlanta that I'm going to forget his name now.
Mohamed Sanu.
Yep. Thank you.
I think with Belichick always operates on market inefficiencies. Mm-hmm. Where can I get the market inefficiency? He's going to say to himself, people aren't going to value this dude because he can't really throw that well. I feel like I can work something. He won games with Matt Castle, so right. he can play with dudes who can't throw. And I think he's going to figure out like, hey, people aren't valuing running backs and they aren't valuing Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of that market inefficiency. And we talked about earlier, nobody wants to pay the running back, so you can reload on these running backs in kind of a new era kind of Belichick system. Yeah, I already know how he does his thing with wide receivers. He likes to get short, more technical guys in there, like slot guys. That can help him out, which are going to work with the run-heavy offense anyways. This is a dude who operates a lot on market inefficiency, and I just see a big opening with market inefficiency right there when it comes to Bill Belichick. I think that's something to look for.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So for me here, the Ravens will definitely look to trade back position, and how this board is falling, you can think maybe the Patriots. Also, if you think about the Chargers might be wanting to move up because they drafted a quarterback and they need lineman help. They might want Isaiah Wilson. They might want Caesar. They might want Austin Jackson or Cleveland. So those are teams that might be jumping. Also, the Giants, they went with Isaiah in this mock. Also need tackle help. Also need lineman help. I think the Ravens in that position will be looking to trade back because we're not doing trade backs here. Kenneth Murray is an intriguing one. Cesar Ruiz and AJ Epinesa will be my top 3 to draft here. I think it's because I'm a little biased, but I like my guy AJ Epinesa too much to pass.
Solid pick.
Yep.
Okay, so here goes Mr.
Blue Stripes.
Ooh, the Chiefs getting J.K. Dobbins there at 32.
I have argued this. I have argued that the Chiefs should get if the top running back is still there, they should. Remember how they're still explosive, but when Kareem Hunt was there, they were way more explosive than they were during the Super Bowl run. I mean, they were so hard because now not only the crazy receivers out there, they have this elite player coming out of the backfield, not only on the running side and on the receiving side. It was really good. I think they should go back to that. Anyway, Ace, it's your pick.
Edwards-Helaire might be a better pick for them.
I'd like to see, if we can go by position, I'd like to see the offensive tackles available, please.
OT, you have Isaiah Wilson, you have Cleveland, and Austin Jackson.
Gotcha. Let me see the wide receivers real quick.
Wide receivers, you have Ayuk, Hamler, Pittman, Shenault.
That is crazy.
You guys like Ayuk?
I like him in the second round. Yeah, not in the first, but second.
Last thing that I want to see is linebacker position.
I think Zach Braun's still there.
Murray's still there. Jordan Brooks is there.
Well, this is a tough one.
They list Bond as an edge.
Yeah, he's an edge guy.
Yeah. Bond is still there.
So if the Bengals were in this situation, I think what they would do is actually move back, being that they have a guy like Zach Bond on the radar. They have a guy like T. Higgins still there. It would be hard for them to make some choices, but they also have quite a few tackles there as well. I think in this situation, they would likely move back probably to about 37 or 38 and take that extra pick possibly in the third round to try to catch another guy. But for right now, given that I just drafted Joe Burrow, the future of my franchise, given that I see that there are a lot of receivers still left over, given that I'm seeing a lot of linebackers still left over, I do see some edges that I like. It's tough between Zach Bond and this guy, but I'm going to go with Isaiah Wilson, and I've got to protect Joe Burrow. I've got to make sure that that offensive line is where it should be. With John Williams coming back, yes. Bobby Hart cannot start. It's not happening. Sorry.
Would the Bengals be looking maybe to trade up to get a guy like Cesar Ruiz, the best center in the draft?
No, the Bengals are pretty much set at center. We ended up getting lucky. That was one of the few bright spots on the offensive line. They ended up having a guy, Trey Hopkins, undrafted guy that really shined for them. Was way better than Billy Price, unfortunately for Billy Price. So he was actually the lone bright spot on the line last year.
Okay, so picks, just to recap, because I know it's Quincy's pick. Brandon Ayuk went right after the Bengals pick, and then Yetur Gross-Matos to the Lions, Zach Bond to New York, Noah, whatever his last name is, from Auburn, corner, AJ Terrell, corner, went also to the Panthers, Jonathan Taylor, running backs, went to the Dolphins, and Marlon Davidson, I like him a lot, to the Texans.
Mhm.
Your pick, Mr. Quincy.
All right, so we have some options here. If you don't mind, let me see the inside defensive lineman.
The big boys. You have Ross Blacklock from
Your
TCU.
boy's
I like-
available.
Oh, Matabuke, my guy. My guy. That is my dude right there.
Roquan Davis. I got another guy that I like a lot. Devon Hamilton from Ohio State is also there.
Man, I don't even know him, and I watch Ohio State, so I'm gonna just have to, so I'm gonna just have to pass on that one. Let's
What other
see.
position?
No tight ends, because the tight ends are all terrible in this draft.
Safety.
Tight ends are bad, yeah.
Ooh, Antoine Winfield's still there, safety.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Antoine Winfield here. I'm gonna go
And-
Antoine Winfield.
Winfield.
Looks like we know where Tony wanted. How are you thinking about a safety after Minka? Minka's supposed to be the
No,
GOAT.
they have no back. They like to play 3 safeties, and they have no third safety right now.
Makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Rock Blacklock went after the pick for the Browns.
Mhm.
Cleveland went to the Bears. Jalen Hurst, there's the pick to the Colts. DeAndre Swift, and I think that's a good pick for the Colts, by the way. DeAndre Swift,
Kenneth
Kenneth Murray to the Broncos.
They can
I
have him.
think the Ravens could have traded up maybe to get
Overrated. He's overrated, in my opinion.
In the second round's not a bad pick. Terrell Lewis, I think a guy that I also like, went to the Falcons. Austin Jackson to the Jets, and now the first pick for your Squealers.
And we're up. All right, show me quarterback. No, I'm just kidding.
Quarterback. There's Eason, right? You want me to draft Eason?
Yeah. Look, here's the thing with the Steelers right now, right? I mean, like, they want a running back. I mean, I don't think the Steelers have a glaring need at really any position, but running back would be the closest you would say.
They
Right?
have a need in the one position.
Yeah, quarterback. We got it. I think the other one could be interior defensive line would be another spot that the Steelers could be looking. I know Matabuke is still there, so is Raekwon Davis.
Matabuke sounds like a Steeler, to be honest, or a Raven. He
I think
does.
they had him in for. I think they had him in for. Well, not a visit. Not a, had him in for. I should say had him in for a visit. I believe they talked to him on FaceTime.
Yeah, that sounds like a dude they have on special teams, just like for like 2 years.
Forget about Tuzar Skipper. That's Tuzar.
Oh man, safety.
right.
Look, safety.
Now safety was going to be Winfield. Okay, so they have. Show me running back.
Come on, man. You know you want to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You're in love with him.
Okay, I
You're
love Clyde
absolutely in
Edwards-Helaire,
love with him.
The Steelers won't take him. 5'7", 200. I mean, this, and I got to give credit here to Alex Kozora of Steeler Depot, who does a lot of good reporting on this. But the Steelers have a type at running back, and that type is 5'10", 220 plus.
Hey, you can rotate him and James Conner in and out there. Have him.
Listen,
I love CH.
I love him a lot. Cam Akers is another guy I'm sure that they're going to like a lot too. Cam Akers, played behind a terrible. I was watching some tape on Cam Akers, and you can't help but feel bad for the guy because he's got really good tools. He played behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. Yeah, and not even. I shouldn't even say that. He played in one of the worst offenses in college football because the quarterbacks did him no help at all there either. So Akers could easily be the pick. I don't know that I want to reach on Akers though. Wide receiver. Real quick, before I take Akers.
Before I take KJ Hamler, so speedy guy on the outside. You still have Pittman, Laviska, Higgins.
How do you guys feel about Laviska? I go back and forth on him because all the injuries that he's had, but I think he's the most talented player with the ball in his hands.
Laviska, if you know how to use him, he can be a weapon.
Yeah,
but you have to know how to use him. If not, then you have Cordell again.
Well, remember the Steelers went all that wildcat and crap last year. Like they tried to get super creative. So He could be an interesting player. I think they're gonna. The problem with like the medical rechecks and all that, they can't have him this year. So
I thought the Steelers were good with Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
no.
But Deontay's not a burner though. What happened to the guy from Kent State that they had that was like a burner? I forget his name.
Dree Archer.
Yeah. Like I've never felt like they found a way to actually use Dree.
The problem with Dree Archer is that just because you run 4.2,
and he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
So James Washington isn't the answer? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, you just keep adding. No, it's a passing league. You just keep adding options at wide receiver.
James Washington.
James Washington, comeback player of the year. We've established this, guys. We've established this.
CD Lamb,
the number
James
one.
Washington. There's no difference.
Juju's the number one. James Washington, comeback player of the year, and Deontay Johnson is actually the most talented of the three. I think we're all in agreement.
Okay, so who you want?
All right, so for me here, it's between Pittman. Look, Pittman's another receiver they would love because he's a big guy. He's a big guy who plays like a small receiver. They're going to love that about him. But this wide receiver class is too deep. Go, just take Cam Akers because I think that's the most realistic. They got to take a running back. They're gonna want Akers as much as it hurts me to pass up Hilaire. If it was me in the draft room, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is your pick. But unfortunately,
you got picked by the Bills.
I know that hurt for you to not take Clyde Edwards-Helaire because you have mentioned him like 10 times throughout this stream, unprompted. Yes, your boy.
Can't get enough of him.
Okay, for us here, there's a couple ways we can go. Willie Gay's a possibility there. I like Jeremy Shin also. He could be a possibility to play somewhere.
Okay.
Can stay there for now. Right? I like Roquan Davis also. Uche, another Jonah Jackson, another possibility. There's a lot here for us. I know we have a pick later on, or not that far. Man, I think I'm gonna go. I'm debating hard. I'm gonna go with Jonah, just so we can have a guard there for to work the possibility.
They took my boy, the Rams.
Hickman and Justin
Amabuke off the board.
Off the board. Okay, and here for us will be T. Higgins. I would have picked the receiver in the previous.
You're gonna pick Higgins above Laviska? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like Higgins' play speed. I think he just might not translate to the NFL. If you watch his highlights and you figure there's no way. But
I prefer Pittman.
Somebody just took Willie Gay.
Willie Gay. He gone.
Let's see the linebackers, please.
T. Higgins, nice pick.
You have Malik
I really like Higgins.
Aiken,
Davis, Gaither still there.
Logan, Evan, it's a bunch.
Man, this is gonna be a crucial one. Let's see let's see.
Laviska, if you want receiver. Joshua Uche.
Uche still available? Yep. I'm an idiot. Why I would.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not real, Tony. It's okay.
It's all falling apart. You don't understand.
He ain't gonna be there when you pick next.
No, he's not. 109.
He might take it.
The Bengals are probably debating right now whether they should go with an edge rusher, a wide receiver, or a linebacker.
It's also there.
Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones there too.
Very intriguing to go with.
Do you like Peoples-Jones?
I'm between him and Curtis Weaver right now. Let's see. Let me think about this. I'm thinking about fit and scheme. Man, that's a tough one to pick between. Hold on 1 second.
You think the need is more on the edge side? I would agree. I would argue the edge is probably more of a need for you guys than the wide receiver.
Yeah, I get the trenches right.
Yeah, we got to get the trenches right. That's what I'm wondering about right now between
Weaver or Uche or Julian Okwara.
I'm looking up the profile right now. Okay, I am gonna go with Curtis Weaver.
Curtis Weaver from Boise. Now, I will say in here, the Ravens might.
Oh!
What happened? Your boy Uche went out?
No.
Malik Harrison?
Damn.
Laviska? apart.
Damn, I was about ready to dance out of here with Malik Harrison. Oh,
That's your boy from
Not so fast, my
OSU.
friend.
the Browns need a linebacker. I think him and Mac Wilson would be a really nice pairing there for two athletic young linebackers.
These safeties are falling.
Let's see.
Jeremy Shinn's still there.
Yeah.
What position are you looking for?
I got to reevaluate now because they took my guy. Let me see inside offensive line. See if there's anybody available there that I like.
Damian Lewis. I like Damian. Moody. A lot of people like Moody.
What about D tackle? Let's go D tackle.
Your boy, Ohio State, David Hamilton.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. He one of them dudes is like, oh, Chase Young ain't on the field, huh?
Oh man. Okay. Tackle? No, you already got a tackle.
No, we already got tackle.
Safety?
We already got safety, really, like because we signed Carl David.
Linebacker, you have Aiken Davis Gaither.
Man, I don't want no Pac-12 linebacker.
He's pretty small too. I don't like Gaither's size.
Yeah, he's small.
All right.
People Jones.
And let's go back to inside offensive lineman again. Let me see something real quick.
Lewis is the highest rated. I like Lewis from LSU.
LSU. Hold on 1 second. I gotta look up something. Gotta do my research. This is how the draft's gonna be held on ESPN.
Yeah, this is it. We're doing it live.
It's live.
You guys are all getting a preview of what's going to happen on Thursday.
Let's see. Can you? Yeah, I want the inside offensive lineman again.
So Moody is the other one. Moody.
These aren't great options here at 74, though.
No,
these aren't.
Damian Lewis is fine. I think linemen get overdrafted too, man.
Let me go back to the all big board real quick. Yeah, nobody I'm in love with here. Yeah,
Tight end? Tight end.
God, no, we don't need a tight end. Yeah, I'll pull the trigger on
Jeremy Shinn.
On
Tugger.
On the inside offensive lineman, the guard.
Oh, for Lewis.
Yeah,
I like Lewis.
Yeah, I pulled a trigger on him. We need a guard just to throw in there for competition's sake, and also, shore it up. I believe in too much for offensive linemen. You got to have too many to make sure you have enough. So that's my philosophy on that. Damn, they took Malik Harrison. It really messed me up because I probably could have got him, man. I hate that team. Whatever team did that.
The Chiefs. No, it wasn't the Chiefs. Who was it?
Wasn't the Chiefs. It was a team with blue.
Yeah, it was Panthers, right?
Yeah, freaking Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers. Okay.
All right, Sonny, you're up. Where are you looking?
Okay. So linebacker is a possibility here. Chase Claypool's there. I know my Ravens guys there in the chat. They probably be loving if I pick Claypool, but I took T. Higgins. I'm not taking him. I like Torrey Pride as a backup corner for the future. Maybe can play slot. I know a lot of people also like Moss. I'm not big on Moss, especially there.
Ooh.
So I'm actually gonna go with Logan Wilson, linebacker, Wyoming.
Is that a shot at? Why am I blanking on everybody's name tonight?
Okay, so here we go. The Clowns' next pick.
Oh, Jake Fromm's available. Chase Claypool, wide receiver here from Notre Dame. Antonio Gibson. Thaddeus Moss does intrigue me just because I like him as a player. I really do. I think he's a tremendous player. But it's just like, where are we going to fit him unless we're going to get rid of David Njoku? And, that could be an argument that could be made there, even though David's a bigger player and you have more invested in him. But, they both can't block. I sound like Bill Belichick here. Let's go. Let's scroll down a little bit and see what we got here. There's
what position are you looking for?
At this point,
Linebacker. I like Troy Dye. I don't know if he's
At this
still
point,
there.
I'm not even looking at players as much as I'm looking at just guys that I like. Who fits, who doesn't. Because you got your guard and your tackle here. So now you're probably just looking for depth. Scroll down a little bit.
Some more.
Yeah, a little bit more. Let's see. Oh, yeah, KJ Hill there. That's a little early for KJ Hill, ain't it?
Well, you have pick 115, so you have another pick in the near future.
Yeah, that's like a luxury pick. Let me see linebackers. Make my special teams coach happy.
Joe Bacci Jr.
Let me see that profile on Joe Bacci, linebacker out of Michigan State. Yeah, it's a Michigan State linebacker right there.
Fifth rounder.
6'2", 230, not athletic. Yeah, look at that. Look at the difference between that pro and con paragraph. Pro.
What round are we still in the third round?
Yeah.
You guys have picked. I'm just saying, you guys have picked a lot. All right.
A lot of linebackers.
Look at this. The pros, he shows up and he's in his spot. The cons, everything else. This is no. Get out. Who made this?
Marcus Bailey from Purdue.
See, look at this in-depth scouting report they have on this guy.
He literally took the last linebacker, bro. That was the last one.
Yeah. The Browns are just gonna have to do. You know what? This is gonna be a good year to get undrafted free agents because there's gonna be a lot of guys who are gonna fall through the cracks that are gonna be gems. So I'm not drafting a linebacker. Let's go back to some positions that actually matter because that was just disheartening. That hurt my feelings.
You still haven't drafted inside the lineman.
Yeah, let's see who we got there. Let's go there.
Lecky Fotu.
Oh, let's see what he looks like.
Isn't he a nose tackle? He's a nose, right?
Yeah, he's more of a nose.
Yeah.
Hey, we need a fat guy. You know what I mean?
You want that run stopper.
What's his spark score? I wonder what he ran in his 40.
0, I think.
He's 6'5", 337. And
By
then
the
you
way,
have
did you guys see Mekhi Becton run the 40 at like 370? A 5 flat. He's as fast as Jameis Winston at like 120 more pounds. That is, I'm be honest with you. If I'm not like a star player, I'm not running in front of that, dog. Like I'm not. Especially with everything going on, you're not paying me. That's hazard pay. Like that is a legitimate, like that's a small vehicle. Like that is a motorcycle, like a legitimate but that's
I got you.
That's just ooh, I mean, Big Boy didn't run that bad of a 40. He ran a 5.15. It's not terrible. It's not like a 6. You know what I mean?
So you want Fotu? Fotu might have run.
I'm warming up to it. Hold on, big guy from Utah. Let me do a little bit more research. I hope the Browns do a little bit more than that.
Oh man.
It pops up. He can be taught that. You know what I mean? His feet doesn't gain enough. Pocket. Does look like a situational guy.
Yeah, I guess the run.
Oh, hold on, wait. Who's Mike Pennell? That's who they're comparing him to. Is this guy a bum?
Sounds like it.
Sounds like a bum. I've never heard of him. So
Never heard of him. More than likely, he's a bum.
14 in 5 years. He's a defensive tackle that wears 64.
The thing is, Noah just has no. It's another one of those positions with no value because he can't play on passing downs.
All right, let's get out of this position grouping because it's just what are the positions with actual? Because like everybody's like it goes from 99 to 142.
Yeah, wide receiver. I think they're. Well,
Chase
a lot of
there.
Yeah, a lot of wide receivers have been taken already though.
And Antonio Gibson is a guy that is a running back, but it's more of a catcher running back, more of a receiver playing running back.
Yep. He was a receiver at Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. He's from Memphis. He lined all over the place. If you want another tackle, there's Charles. There's your boy Moss another running back there. Brian Edwards, another receiver. I like him. Another safety, Kevon Wallace. Amik Robinson.
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna just pull the trigger on Thaddeus Moss. See what I can make out of him.
Thaddeus Moss. You can
Going
always
4 tight end sets.
I mean, like, just let him develop a little bit. I don't think he's going to play, the first year. But, maybe you let David Njoku go next year. You have an answer.
So here's the Steelers.
All right. And
players that went out after that pick was Claypool, Ben Barch, Kareem, and Zuniga.
Okay.
You want Antonio Gibson?
No.
Jake Fromm.
I already took Cam Akers. So now,
Jake Fromm.
All right, let's look at quarterbacks. Let's go over the quarterbacks we're not going to take.
At this point, you're being stubborn. Jake Fromm's right there.
Yeah.
No. Let's go quarterback. Yeah, let's see what quarterbacks are available. Nope, don't want any of those guys. All right, moving along. Let's look at wide receiver.
No Jake Fromm. Okay.
Brian Edwards from South
Brian Edwards is a guy I like a lot because if you pay attention to any of the advanced analytics stuff, his breakout age was 17. He's incredible. But you watch his tape and he's a little less incredible on tape. And the problem with him is he plays more of a big slot type of player. The Steelers need more of a burner. I think I could get a burner probably later in the draft.
KJ Hill.
Yeah. I think there's one I'm eyeing later in the draft. All right, let's go to all right. Being that I didn't look at edge last time and Uche was there, let's look at edge real quick just so I don't screw this up.
Bradley Anai, Alex Hicksmith.
I like the kid from Charlotte. All right, wait, hold on. I'm probably going to end up taking him, but let me see safety real quick.
Safety, Kevon Wallace is still there.
Oh, Kevon Wallace is really good too.
That sounds like a Steeler.
Yeah,
like there's another guy at safety. I like
Kevon Wallace, Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, here's
take Bowden.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver from Kentucky. And
Lynn
here's
Bowden?
Oh, that's early.
O2 could play nose. Yeah, no, but there's no positional value in nose.
you want Wallace?
Although if I get an edge, he's going to compete with my boy Skipper.
Skipper.
Tuzar, Skipper, and Ola. All right, we're going to go Kevon Wallace. The Steelers need a safety. They have no depth right now at safety. Kevon Wallace can play as that third safety. You don't want him playing over the top, but you're hoping that Minka doesn't get hurt. So.
Okay, here's the Ravens pick now.
Here to steal another one of my players. Again.
What player did they steal?
Couple of them.
Logan
Wilson and T. Higgins.
Okay, so a guy that I like here a lot, was he still here? Is Bradley Anai. Anai is a guy that I like a lot. I liked what I see for him in the Senior Bowl, and we usually pick a guy from the Senior Bowl. We can go receiver again. Man, I know a lot of Ravens fans like these two, but I'm gonna pass on these two. KJ Hill, I'm leaving it there for Quincy because Quincy's picking it on 115. You know what? F it. I'm gonna take Bradley Anai.
All right. Let me see the interior offensive lineman.
It's bad.
Logan Stenberg.
Like any of those. Solomon Kinley. No, I'm good. Okay. Let's take a look at the tackles.
We're about to draft an offensive lineman from San Diego State. Like, come on now. I've never seen a block.
Didn't the Chargers draft a guy Lamb or something like that from one of those schools a couple years ago? It was a guard.
All right, wide receivers.
Brian Edwards, Van Jefferson, and KJ Hill, which is Quincy's next pick.
Linebackers.
See, you shady, Sonny, because you're trying to get him to pick KJ Hill.
I'm thinking about Marcus Bailey, but he's injured. So I don't think that I can take him in the 4th round, but he, to me, is one of the best linebackers of this class. He just ended up having a torn ACL, so I can't take him. So let me go with I'll go with Van Jefferson, wide receiver.
Van Jefferson. Good route runner. Oh, KJ Hill. He made it. Look at that. He made it. The top wide receiver right now. Only because the Cardinals went with somebody else, not named KJ Hill.
All right, so we're gonna go KJ Hill here. I think he's gonna be kind of the Browns' backup plan, just in case Jarvis Landry starts to get a little bit too expensive down the road.
Or you guys could trade OBJ. That's another one.
Why would we do that?
That's how
I've not heard one compelling reason why the Browns would trade Odell. I've heard all the reasons why, like, oh yeah, the Browns are gonna trade Odell. Did you? By the way, let me vent real quick. The Browns are about to trade Odell Beckham for next year's 2nd and 5th pick. Come on, son.
to Minnesota.
I know we the Browns, but like, stop. Like, that's not something that ever. That would be like the worst trade. That was just come on. That was a troll. 2021
Okay.
2nd and 5th.
All right. We're up again.
Albert O.
No, we're not taking a tight end. Okay, so wide receiver. Bowden is still available. Yeah,
Your boy, that's what your boy said.
Listen, I know. No, listen, Chad's gonna be upset when I don't take him.
Hey, Sonny, I think you should think about taking him.
Go wide receiver real quick. Let me see all wide receivers.
There's another guy that I like a little bit more.
Yeah, there's another guy I like a little bit more.
Think about with Bowden for the Ravens. Like, he's a guy who has some experience at quarterback. You can probably like push him in there too. And some of those, like if you want to give Lamar a little bit of a breather.
Break, yeah, why not, right? We have RG3 for that.
Yeah, but RG3 ain't got no legs. Stop. He ain't got no knees, no kneecaps. Stop.
RG knee?
No, he's a coach at this point.
He's a coach.
And he still beat the Steelers.
That's true. That is true.
No comment. All right. There are some wide receivers I still like, and I think this is around the time the Steelers should be taking a wide receiver.
We got
a couple. Yeah, we got this is actually
there.
This is I think the pick we got from the Dolphins in the Minka trade. It's actually the Titans' 4th round pick. All right, let me see.
There's a comment for Tony there from Troy.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Aren't the Steelers trying to win that game to get a playoff spot too?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
It's crazy.
It was a fun one. Let me see interior defensive line because I still need a nose at some point.
Photo, man. If Photo's still here. Photo's still there, man.
Photo is still there. Now we're gonna
Photo.
Come on, man. Photo sounds like a Steelers pick.
Who the fuck?
And he looks like Petco, like a young. He's
Nah, he's
related to
right.
Petco.
So are there any other interior
Aloo.
I would really want? Khalil Davis. All right. Show me wide receiver one more time. Just I just want to make sure.
Jones sounds like a Steeler.
Gabriel Davis.
Yeah.
It needs to burn it for
Three
UCF.
wide receivers I'd still be okay with. Okay, yeah.
last names from Liberty.
Let's go.
Antonio Gandy Golden.
Andy Golden's good.
That sounds like a Pittsburgh pick right there.
All right, yeah. We'll take Fotu if he's still around.
You're gonna take Fotu.
Fotu.
Okay. Let's see here. So it's my pick. At this point, we're playing house money. Albert O is a guy that I like.
There.
Who?
I'm not taking Bowden.
No, me neither. There's another guy that I like more than Bowden.
That's a little bit of a piece there. I mean, like he's one heck of an athlete. You can do a lot of things with your offense. Like, I don't think he strictly has to be a wide receiver. He could be kind of like
he's a returner too. I like him.
He's a returner.
Like a less hyped up Taysom Hill kind of a deal there. I think there's some value, especially for the Ravens system, with him in it. I think I would investigate that.
You would investigate that.
Yeah, I would. It makes a lot of sense, man. Say something, God forbid, something happens to Lamar Jackson. I feel like you can do something with him and RG3 as a combination piece there to keep that offense going more than you would with RG3 for more than one game, because God forbid RG3 has to start for more than one game. I know he's undefeated from last year, but let's not play with.
So the question that I have here, because the problem is the next 2 picks, and then we don't have a pick for. Oh no, we have a 5th round pick.
Y'all gonna draft that corner right there from Iowa?
Yeah, Ojemudia or whatever. I botched his last name. Yeah, maybe. Lynn Bowden, Albert O. Man, I want to see. This is when I'm doing my mocks. This is when I trade back quick because there's so much stuff so I want more picks.
Oh, Kenny Robinson's still available there, safety. I mean, he's a developmental guy, but he's good. Yeah, he was in the XFL. I think he had like a year of eligibility left.
Yeah,
he played in the XFL. Was very good playing with grown men. Was a standout player there. Kind of upset. I could. You know what? Never mind.
You can have him soon.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Been seeing up for a while though.
I'm gonna go with my favorite receiver left. Devin Duvernay.
Oh my goodness gracious! Luckily, there's still 3 other guys I like at wide receiver.
Devin Duvernay is one of my favorite receivers in this draft.
Yeah, he's good.
It's me again. Look at this. Tony, who you want so I can draft him?
No comment. You already took a wide receiver though, so you know.
Bowden left. Oh, Bowden's still here. I can go Bowden.
Yeah, he's not really a wide receiver. He's a utility guy. Yeah.
Wait, how many receivers have you taken so far?
2.
You just gonna go load up?
Why not?
We
have
well.
4.
Bowden's a slag.
Since Hollywood Brown is a top 5 AFC North receiver.
Yeah, that's right.
You know that's right. You know that is right. You're preaching here. You are preaching.
Hey, you put 5 more pounds on Bowden, he can even run in and do a little bit of running back for you. You know, I like Bowden. He's a Youngstown, like he's from Youngstown. I know people in like who are related to him. Like, you know, I'm kind of biased in that way, but I think he has a lot of potential there,
man. It's just 3 receivers.
Comparing him to Randall Cobb on the NFL.com.
It's a good comparison.
Where's the tight ends? We need a tight end too. I like this dude, LaGuara.
And he fought in his bowl game, so you know he like born ready.
He's
born ready. So
that's the red flag right there.
Yeah, hey, you got Marlon Humphreys. He already choked a man out on the football field. Y'all can just have the whole squad out there. Just
hey, don't mess with us. Kenny Robinson. You know what? I'm gonna go with Kenny.
Gonna pull the trigger on my guy.
I'm gonna go with Kenny here.
That's a good pick. He's like 6'2", very athletic, young, raw player. You're gonna get a lot out of him. His instincts are gonna be bad at first, but they weren't terrible in the XFL. Again, playing against pro players.
That's my boy.
Oh, Engraven's here.
My boy. Okay, so it's the pick of the Squealers.
No, and Bowden's still available, huh?
Mm-hmm. I left it for you.
Can I pass on him twice? Can I pass on him twice?
Where's your boy? It's your boy.
He's from Youngstown. That's kind of a local guy. You know the Steelers love to take those.
Listen, Reed's been with me for a while. Locked on Steelers fan from way back. Reed, I apologize. I don't think I'm going to take Bowden. I have a wide receiver I like more. Actually, I have 2 wide receivers I like more. Show me wide receiver. Maybe I can pass on a wide receiver here and wait even longer. Oh, I probably
Gabriel.
Probably good.
I see. So Steelers get some
Proach. That's a pick for you, SMU. Proach.
Yeah.
Prochet. I think it's Prochet.
Man, draft some dude who's gonna have 500 yards in 2 years.
So far, I'm taking running back. I've taken running back, safety, and nose. So I've really hit the 3 guys who are probably going to see the most playing time year 1. I would like another corner. I would like another linebacker. And I definitely want to add a wide receiver from this class.
Linebacker. Marcus Bailey, Purdue. Taylor, Colorado.
No. Wow.
There you go.
Got him. That's true. All right, go back to wide receiver.
People like him. Wide receiver. Go Bowden, man. Come on.
Come on, man. You know
the doing it. Tyler Johnson, Minnesota.
Boo.
Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, another guy, breakout age in 19, very productive. Questions about his athleticism, but the Steelers they don't care about 40 times with wide receivers.
There goes Bowden.
Yeah, well.
Wow, both guys that I wanted are both off the board.
I
wanted Albert O, and I also wanted to double back and get Marcus Bailey. But let's see what we've got here. Let's just go on all.
Reggie Robinson II.
I'm gonna go with Josiah DeGuara, tight end out of Cincinnati.
Man, let's get it, baby. Love that dude. I love that, dude.
You know what
Now,
though? I would normally joke around and be like,
Cincinnati,
"That's a
stand
trade
up."
money pick." You know, they don't want to fly the guy in, but you know, this year ain't nobody flying in for them press conferences. Everybody's Skyping.
I love the Guara. I would trade you the safety that I just picked for the Guara.
I'm gonna need T. Higgins, bro. I'm gonna need T. Higgins.
T. Higgins in the 5th best wide receiver in the AFC North.
Okay, so
or Logan Wilson. We can do Logan Wilson.
No, I like Logan. Leave Logan alone. So in here, there's a couple things that we could do. This is a reach, but I don't have any picks until the 7th round, and I like this dude a lot. And it's from a small school, but I like what I seen from the few tapes that I watched. Derek Tuska.
North Dakota State guy. I know about that.
State, the Bisons.
You don't want to get an edge rusher for North Dakota State, though.
I think he might be the max.
They kind of like Alabama, where they just run them dudes to death in that subdivision. You can get a good, and not a running back, but you can get a good quarterback maybe. Sometimes you can get a good wide receiver out of there, but they really do kill their interior players at that place. Shout out to North Dakota. Well, I don't like North Dakota State. No shout out.
Here's Ace 6th round pick.
6th round pick here.
You have Kyrie Phillips, inside lineman, safety, Jay Reed, and Vaughn. And then this is the highest rated linebacker. It's the 4th highest player right now. Courtman from Miami.
Man, I seen Miami play. He ain't no.
I mean, but we're talking about the 6th round here. I mean,
yeah, this is the 6th round. So essentially, you're looking for some guys that may flash here.
Yeah, special teams too.
Special teams as well. This is gonna be a tough one. Let me see the profile for Kyrie Phillips. This interior offensive lineman.
Oh, there you go.
No picture.
I'm actually gonna go with him. I'm looking him up on NFL.com. He's got this is amazing value, it seems like, for this guy. I'm gonna go with him. We need to fix that offensive line. Okay. 6.24 grade on NFL.com. So
all right.
We'll be the starter in a couple of seasons. I think that's amazing to get something like that in the 6th round.
This thing says that your biggest need is linebacker. There's Jacob Phillips from LSU.
I've seen all them trash linebackers they got available.
It's not an easy one. You got more trash.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take my chances. Like, I'll just sign Scooby right at this point.
Yeah, when Logan Wilson went off the board, linebacker ended for me.
Yeah, this is come on now. We're just gonna take our chances with small school guys that fell through the cracks because there's no draft process.
At this point, I'm just waiting on a training camp cut.
Yeah, and let's be honest at this point. I don't know who any of these guys are. Let's see where quarterback's at.
Safety from Maryland, man. Come on. Quarterback.
He played at Maryland. I've watched Maryland play football. Dude, quarterback from Oregon State.
Shea Patterson still available.
Shea Patterson.
Isn't that like a huge quarterback? He came from like a small school. He's like super big. I forget what his name is.
No picture.
Yeah, that's crazy because Shea Patterson was supposed to be like the biggest, like, hyped up player 2 years ago when John Harbaugh brought him to Michigan. And then he ended up being a bum, just like John Harbaugh is a bum at Michigan. Can't do nothing. They both need to go. They've both been terrible. John Harbaugh's been nothing but hype and just bumminess. He makes me mad. I'm not even an Ohio State fan. I'm just a dude from Ohio. He makes me mad that he hasn't made that rivalry competitive as much as he talked garbage about making that rivalry competitive. He has not done anything. We beat Michigan every year. He's garbage and hype. They need to hire Luke Fickell because he's trash. And you know what? I feel bad for Michigan fans that that's what they have because he's just been a.
You want Patterson? Is what you're saying?
No, I don't want no Shea Patterson. He can go to Detroit or be a camp arm for like somebody else. I use that as a proper time to bury Michigan because it's just a disappointment there. Get me off them linebackers, man. I ain't drafting them. Let's see. Let me see all. Let's just go all. Who's the biggest dude?
Gotta go all at this point.
Let's go back to Oh wait. Let's go Travis Gibson. Let's see what he looking like out of Tulsa.
Oh wait.
Yeah, he's down there about 109. Let's see what he's looking like. No picture, but 6'4", 259.
Yeah.
Is he athletic? What they say? Flexibility. Let's see what that. Just enough to put his feet in. Okay. Nope. We get on that. We get on that. Let me go inside defensive tackles. Because we should draft a fat guy.
There you go.
That guy yet? How are you going to stop Cam Akers? Cam Akers is about to run for 200 every game on you guys.
I mean, we have a Myles Garrett. Like,
Do you?
We have a Myles Garrett.
Here's your boy right here from Michigan State.
Yeah, 6'4", 304. That's not enough. That's not enough beef. I need more beef than that.
300. 321. There you go.
You want like the former sumo wrestler turned football player.
Here you go. No analysis.
No analysis. Just height.
333. 333.
We went to Utah though.
The 333 guy. No. Yeah, Utah.
He went to Utah. It's a dude from UAB. I didn't know they brought their football program back. Shout out to them. Just watch Flumlo video about them. Let's go back to all. I feel like, how I feel like teams just really just be like, I don't feel like the GMs ever pick these picks. I feel like they just have the intern be like, all right, man. Like when your dad let you play poker when he got to use the bathroom, he's like, all right, just fold every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just fold every time. Don't mess it up. I feel like that's what GMs do. They just give it to their homeboy and just be like, hey, just fold.
That's receiver Cleveland. For Cleveland.
I've already drafted enough wide receivers, honestly. Let me get Lamar Jackson.
Oh my goodness. It's unbelievable.
Lamar Jackson, baby.
He's actually a decent developmental corner because he's got good size and speed.
We just gonna have him be the spy for Lamar Jackson so we can have Lamar Jackson on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, confuse him. We'll never see it coming.
So Antonio Gandy Golden, you guys were talking about him. He went.
Yeah, I like Andy Golden. My co-host or my former co-host on Locked On Steelers likes him a lot.
Okay, so I like this dude too, Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings is good too, yeah. I was actually just watching Matt Waldman's video on Juwan Jennings last night.
I like Juwan a lot.
Yeah, he's just slow. The problem with him, he's slow.
Yep.
Hey, you can put him in like a flex position.
Yeah, no. Look, here's your linebacker.
Francis Bernard.
Francis Bernard.
He can't tackle. His name's Francis and he went to Utah. He's only 6'1". It's not
QB. Your position in need.
Hey, let's go to QB real quick. See what he got going there. See what the
let's say I think Shea Patterson's growing. I'm reading the chat here. This guy says Shea Patterson was so bad. He'll fit right in with the Steelers quarterback room right now.
Shea Patterson might be an upgrade.
Shea Patterson's an upgrade over which one? Over Mason or Duck?
No, Duck, he's not an upgrade over Duck, but he's definitely an upgrade over Mason.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, so who you on? Tackle?
Glad we could agree on that one. Oh, I like Dane Jackson out of Pitt, although he's more of a nickel than an outside corner. But he could be an interesting prospect.
You want him?
Yeah, let's take Dane Jackson.
Hold on, wait. Oh, okay. You could have
because here's the thing, they have Justin Lane at outside corner.
You could have
drafted James Sutton can play out there as well.
You could have drafted AJ Green.
That's true.
After Lamar Jackson, it would have been would have been a nice pick.
I was actually thinking about drafting AJ Green just because.
Just for the lows. It's the 7th round. We got to do it.
Yeah, Reed. I think the reason why I took Dane Jackson there as a nickel is because Mike Hilton is probably gone in a year, and then Cam Sutton's going to fit that role, and so Dane Jackson, if he progresses, could play nickel.
Let's see.
Benito Jones. Who is Benito Jones? Lamar Jackson was highly recruited out of high school.
Let's see. Safeties. Shaheem Carter, it's your lucky day. We're going to pick you. I don't even know who you are, but.
Did he even start at Alabama? No, he didn't because Xavier.
He went to Alabama, so, hey, you're drafted.
See, it's going to be a lot of those picks. That's why somebody going to fall through the cracks. Be really good undrafted free agents.
Okay, so this is my pick. Let me go running back here real quick.
Oh, he used to play quarterback, apparently.
You want Jennings.
free agent. That's his priority. 6th rounder.
Hey, Ace, you joke, but like the Browns once drafted Justin Gilbert and then did their research after they selected him, much like you did there. But that was the draft in 2014. So.
Do you like Austin Mack, Mr. Carter? You don't even know who he is.
Hold on, I think I know. I've heard of Austin Mack. You know,
he's from Ohio State. That's what I'm asking.
I know. Hold on, wait. Let me see his number. Because again, I'm not a diehard Ohio State fan, really.
I wanted to pick Juwan Jennings, and he left. I don't care.
Austin Mack's kind of a bum. Don't draft him.
I'm gonna go with the tiny guy here. Small guy, the smallest guy probably. J.J. Taylor, running back out of Arizona. Make him return. He will get loose. Here you go,
Toby. What we got left? My last pick. The 6th. This is the end of the 6th round, right? Because this is the last Steelers.
No,
pick.
this is the 7th round.
We're in the 7th round.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's my last pick. All right. Well, none of these top guys, because I've taken a wide receiver, I've taken a corner, I've taken a running back. So none of those guys. What about edge?
Benito Jones. Somebody was talking about him.
Who's that? Interior offensive line, or does that say
D-line?
D-line. No, I already took Fotu or whatever his name is.
Who you want?
Let me see edge. Maybe someone to compete with my boy Skipper.
Carter Coughlin, Minnesota.
Hey, you got a dude with 2 last names available.
Who's that?
Smith Williams.
Oh, James Smith Williams.
Hey, come on now. That sounds like a special teams ace right there.
They do need a special teams guy.
Look at Carter.
If he's under 6'2", he's a special teams ace. Look, how big is he?
Quincy, doesn't this look like a guy from Minnesota?
Hold on. Carter Coughlin has 22.5 sacks over his 3 years, 8 fumbles.
Yeah, dude.
He's super small, right? Isn't he super small?
6'3", 234. You know what? The Steelers like this guy. They took a guy from Sutton Smith last year from Northern Illinois. This would fit their mold. Let's go Carter Coughlin. They need an edge. They just need another body there.
Well, they play a 3-4, but he gonna get pushed around.
Well, Sutton Smith, same deal last year. Maybe they would learn their lesson.
The last pick here is by Mr. Carter.
Where's my boy Benito on the board?
Benito
Jones still there. Benito Jones.
Read the
AJ Green's there too.
You want him?
AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Ooh. I already
you
got
went
my
Lamar Jackson, AJ Green. Both.
No, I just wanted to get Lamar Jackson just so still Ravens fans cannot be like, "Oh, you wish you drafted Lamar Jackson, didn't you?" I did. How about that? But AJ Green, I got no envy about AJ Green. I done seen Joe Hayden shut down AJ Green make him statless a couple times. Yeah. No, hey, Joe Hayden in his prime, he made Julio Jones.
Still in his prime, by the way.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Look, in his prime, Joe Hayden held in his prime Julio Jones to 0 stats. Now, I'm not exaggerating. The man had 0 stats.
I'm baffled that they cut him or trade him, whatever the hell they did.
Yeah, they was being stupid trying to lose games.
Yeah, they cut him.
They cut him, and then they cut him right at the end of training camp, and it was like, well, I gotta go somewhere close to make sure my kids can go to school in the same school system. So he went to Pittsburgh. They set that one up. They really did.
It was unbelievable. The Steelers were so hurting at corner at the time. I mean, it was like the gift from the gods.
Yeah, what they did really was set their ex up with their homeboy. They really just did that. They really did that.
By the way, Joe Hayden, 2019, 5 interceptions, most since his rookie year. Just a little.
I know the Browns gave him 2. See, let's go Benito Jones here. Big guy out of Ole Miss.
Jones.
See what happens. Make that monkey jump.
Oh, Sonny, can you put Reed's comment up real quick? Because he's talking about So the problem with a guy like Tipa is that in a year like this, he has red flags. I mean, he had an assault charge in 2017. So you can't meet with these guys. You can't get a feel for the person. The red flag guys are they're gonna drop out of this draft, and the Steelers are never gonna go for that.
Again, great year to get some undrafted free agents.
Yes.
So here are the picks for us. First round: Joe Burrow, Jedrick Wills, and AJ Epinesa.
Who the Steelers?
Steelers, nobody.
Ah.
Bungles pick here: Isaiah Wilson, Anthony Wilfield. It was the pick. Antoine Wilfield for the Clowns, and Akers was the first round for the Squealers.
Second round, first pick.
First pick, yeah, that's what I meant. Jonah Williams for the Ravens and T. Higgins. Then Curtis Weaver, Damian Lewis to the Browns. Logan Wilson.
I drafted him. I legitimately forgot I drafted him.
It's been a long show.
Welcome, Damian, to the team, buddy.
I like him. Thaddeus Moss, Kevon Wallace, Anai goes to the Ravens. Van Jefferson, KJ Hill, Fotu,
big boy.
Kenny Robinson, and I wish I could just swap these two picks right here. Tyler Johnson, Josiah DeGuara, Derek Tuska, or whatever his last name is. Kyrie Phillips, Lamar Jackson, Dane Jackson, Carter, safety for the Bungles from Alabama. Taylor, running back from Arizona for the Ravens. Last pick for the Squealers, Carter Coughlin, and then Benito Jones to close the draft.
Yeah, he's going to be a gap murderer there. I think also an interesting thing that could break out there, because I'm not a fan of Tristan Wirfs as a tackle, but the appeal of Tristan Wirfs is that you can draft him, slide him inside guard, and if a guy like Ezra Cleveland's available in the second round for the Cleveland Browns, you have the freedom to draft him, and now you got guards sold up, like locked down with Wirfs, and then you have, you know, a solution there for left or right tackle. Probably right tackle, you'll put Ezra Cleveland and slide Conklin over to the left. So I see the appeal to him. I just don't think Tristan Wirfs is a tackle, and I'm not drafting a guard at 10, but you know,
that's fair.
Definitely.
Okay, my guys. So our stream was almost 2 hours. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like it, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Also check everybody's channel. They're down in the description below. This is what this channel is all about. Good conversation between the AFC North. We tried to take as much questions as we could. That's probably why we have almost a 2-hour show. Thank you for joining the live stream, my guys. We will see you next time.
See you.
Peace.
Peace out.